Ricky Gervais is no stranger to controversy. His comedy tends to be edgy and on the brink of taking it too far, but now he has vowed to push the limit even more. His new show promises to be even wilder. We will check out everything that he has to say about his new comedy show, some things about his show, Afterlife, and a lot more. Stick with us and get all the details. So, what is this new show that promises to be so controversial? Since his Netflix series Afterlife has just dropped the final season on Netflix, it makes sense that Ricky Gervais is looking forward to his next big thing, and it sounds like that is going to be his next stand-up show. The show will be called Armageddon, and Gervais has said that he is treating it like it is his last one ever. He went on to explain that it wouldn't be, but he wanted to go all out and make sure that he doesn't hold back. He even joked that he wants to try and get canceled by pushing it all to the limit with this show. He has never really cared what people think, and that's what makes him funny. I mean, how many of you remember his Golden Globe speeches? It was savage. In this show, he will discuss and joke about all the ways that we could be destroying ourselves. As he said, that could be from media stupidity or from the actual end of the world. I get how that could be a touchy subject, and with all the chaos in the world, how he could push it all to the limit. But he has made it clear that he doesn't believe that comedy should have limits. What has he said about comedy? In the past interviews, Ricky Gervais has made it clear that no subject should be off limits when it comes to comedy. He said that there is no subject that you shouldn't joke about. He compared comedy to journalism and said that no subject would be off limits for a journalist to write about, and just the same, a comedian should be able to speak about everything. According to him, it is all about angles, and he thinks that people who are very easily offended generally don't always understand tone and who the actual target of the joke is. For example, if you use irony, then it is very easy for listeners to misunderstand the jokes that you are making and think they are meant in a certain way when you mean the exact opposite. It doesn't sound like he's planning on making any changes on his delivery or what he's saying, just that people should understand that when he's saying something that he doesn't mean it in a way that it sounds. I guess if you're already a fan of Ricky Gervais, then you have a pretty good understanding of his sense of humor, and if you aren't, then it doesn't really sound like he cares whether you try to cancel him or not. One thing is for sure, it is going to be interesting to see what he's gonna come up with for his next show. What have people thought of Afterlife? The last big project that Gervais created was the Netflix show Afterlife. It is such a unique show, and one that many people have praised as a well thought out show that is completely one of a kind. There's nothing else quite like it on any form of television at the moment. The show started with Tony, who had the perfect life until his wife died. Then he completely changes. First, he wants to take his own life, but his dog and the need to care for the pup stops him. He decides to stick around and just do whatever he wants to do. The show could be a bit of a mess, but one that is very much like real life, and poignant enough to really speak to people. Season 3 has gone down just as well with fans, besides the ending that was a little bit confusing. But we won't spoil that for you. Still, it is a good indication of the wild sense of humor that Ricky Gervais has. And going off of how wildly popular the show was, many people enjoy that wild sense of humor and get it completely, making me think that he doesn't need to worry about being canceled anytime soon. Now let's talk about the best Afterlife co-star. We all know that the best part of Afterlife was the gorgeous puppy that helped to give Tony a will to carry on. The pup called Antilly is just an important part of her own owner's life, as she was in the life of her on-screen parents. Ashley Foster and Beth Heel have known his human parents for the moment she was born. Her dog family belongs to Foster's parents, and he was there when she was born. They have shared that she means just as much to them and always there when they need her. Even when other humans don't fully understand how to be there for you, if you are going through something, a dog always does. The cool thing is that another dog star that joined the series for season 3 also came from the same family. In the show, the character Kath adopts a dog, and in real life, Wiley was also adopted by the couple. So if it seems like you like the two pups on the show were really close, then it is probably because they are really family in real life too. And really cool fact in my opinion. And now I just need to go hug my dog. How about you? Will you be watching the new Ricky Gervais show, even if it will be controversial? Did you watch Afterlife? What did you think? Share all of your thoughts with us in the comments section. We love to hear from you. Next up, we'll check out out if Ricky Gervais would ever get married, his podcast coming soon, and much more. Stay with us and check out all the news. Would Ricky Gervais ever get married? He has said about his afterlife character that he has never been in such a dark place in his own life, even though he has seen other people go through it, but that he would understand getting there if he was to lose the love of his life. The woman in question? His longtime partner, Jane Fallon. The two of them began dating since they met all the way back in the 1980s. They've been together for nearly 40 years and have been through it all together, including fame and fortune, but they've never gotten married. When asked if they ever would, Ricky has said that there would be just no point. He doesn't believe in God, so why would he get married in a ceremony in front of God? And he also said that they share everything and in many senses are already married. He even said that this fake marriage has lasted a lot longer than most actual marriages do last. They share everything and they've built a life together for years. The comedian has also shared that he doesn't want to have kids because he doesn't think that he would ever sleep again. He gets worried about leaving the door open and the cat falling out in the pool. With a real human child, he would constantly worry about them and just keep checking if they're breathing. Next, the scene he didn't think would make it into Afterlife. With a bunch of hilarious people on the show, I'm sure it had to have been chaos at times, but there was an improvised scene that no one saw coming and that had everyone in fits of laughter. In the scene, James, who's played by Ethan Lawrence, was going after local talent agent Kent Oatley, played by Colin Holt, for the lack of work opportunities that he had been going his way. The agent was discussing his past in the showbiz industry when Holt went completely off script and started singing a song from the Taxi Driver musical. The moment was so mental that no one was entirely sure that it would actually make it into the final cut of the show, and it provided everyone on set a lot of entertainment. In the blooper reel of Afterlife, you get to see the initial reactions that everyone had from the moment. Gervais completely broke down, collapsing on the floor from laughing so hard, and almost everyone around them breaks character. The blooper reel version of the show is almost funnier than the moment was in the show. It was a pretty awesome moment, and I'm glad it did make the cut. Lastly, the return of his podcast. But the new stand-up show isn't the only thing that Ricky Gervais has in store for fans in the next few months. Variety has confirmed that he will also be back with his podcast, Absolutely Mental, for a third season. Gervais is joined by neuroscientist and philosopher Sam Harris in this podcast where they touch on almost everything. They talk about things like what to ask aliens if you had the chance and morality and everything in between, like how to cure pain. It's going to be exciting to see what they come up with in season 3. Do you listen to the podcast? Let us know. Thanks for watching.